Rediscovering your sparkle, reclaiming joy and respect in later life. Have you ever felt invisible? Like your voice, your wisdom, your very presence has faded into the background, especially within your own family? It's a subtle ache, a quiet knowing that something precious is missing. And the more you try to recapture it, the more it seems to slip away. You raise your voice, they tune you out. You offer advice, they roll their eyes. So what do you do when the people who are supposed to cherish you seem to have forgotten how? In this video, we're talking about something rarely discussed. How to rediscover your sparkle, that inner radiance that commands respect, not through demands or arguments, but through quiet, powerful shifts in how you carry yourself. These 7 strategies aren't about changing anyone else. They're about reclaiming your joy, your peace, and your sense of self. Stay with us until the end, because the final tip might be the most transformative of all, not just for your family relationships, but for every connection in your life. If you're ready to step back into the light, to feel seen, heard, and valued again, this video is for you. Let's begin. Number 1, the gift of absence. When we feel overlooked, our instinct is often to do more, to give more, to somehow prove our worth through constant activity and unwavering availability. We become the default helper, the ever-present caregiver, the silent pillar holding the family together. But what if, instead of adding more to our already overflowing plates, the most powerful move is to strategically do less? This isn't about abandoning our responsibilities or withdrawing our love. It's about reclaiming our energy and creating space for others to finally notice the invaluable contributions we've been making all along. This is the gift of absence, a gentle detachment that allows the weight of our presence to be truly felt in its absence. It's not about staging a dramatic exit or employing manipulative tactics. It's about setting healthy boundaries and prioritizing your own well-being. It might look like declining an invitation to a family gathering when you're feeling depleted, allowing a phone call to go to voicemail if it's perpetually about their needs and never yours, or simply saying no to an extra task when you're already stretched thin. You remain kind, compassionate, and present in their lives, but you consciously choose to stop overextending yourself, to stop filling every silence, to stop being the constant source of support without reciprocation. Imagine a beautifully intricate tapestry, rich with vibrant colors and intricate designs. Now imagine one specific thread, essential to the overall pattern, constantly being tugged and stretched, its color fading under the strain. By gently loosening that thread, by allowing it to regain its shape and vibrancy, you not only preserve its beauty, but also allow the other threads to finally recognize its importance to the whole design. That's the power of strategic absence. It's not about disappearing. It's about becoming more visible by creating the space for others to appreciate your presence. This gentle disengagement creates a vacuum, a space where others begin to feel the weight of what's missing. They might start noticing the quiet efficiency with which you've always managed things, the thoughtful gestures you've consistently offered, the emotional support you've readily provided. And that absence, that quiet shift in energy, speaks volumes. It's a subtle but powerful language that communicates your value, not through words, but through the void your absence creates. It allows your loved ones to experience the impact of your contributions, prompting them to recognize and appreciate all that you do. I knew a woman named Eleanor, 83 years young, who always hosted every holiday gathering. She loved her family dearly, but the effort had become exhausting and largely unappreciated. One year, she simply said, "I'm happy to celebrate, but I won't be hosting this time." The shift was remarkable. Not only did her family step up, but they also started appreciating the invisible work she'd been doing for years. The absence of her usual efforts illuminated her invaluable contribution, transforming taken-for-granted tasks into cherished acts of love and service. This is the subtle yet profound power of the gift of absence. Number 2, the eloquence of silence. When someone dismisses your opinion, minimizes your feelings, or speaks to you in a way that stings, your first reaction might be to defend yourself, to justify your perspective, to argue your point. You might feel a surge of anger or rush of hurt, a desperate need to be heard and understood. But consider this. What if the most potent response isn't a volley of words, but the quiet strength of silence? Silence, when wielded intentionally, is not a sign of weakness or surrender. It's a powerful assertion of self-respect. It's a way of saying, "I hear you, but I refuse to engage with disrespect. I will not lower myself to participate in this unproductive exchange." Imagine a scenario. Your adult child criticizes your lifestyle choices, suggesting you're stuck in the past and out of touch with modern times. Your immediate instinct might be to retaliate, to list all the ways they're wrong, to point out their own shortcomings. But what if, instead of fueling the fire, you simply met their words with a calm, steady silence? No defensiveness, no justifications, just a quiet acknowledgement of their words without engaging in the negativity. This disrupts the expected pattern. They're anticipating a reaction, a heated debate, but they're met with a composed stillness. This unexpected response can be profoundly impactful. Silence creates space. It creates a pause in the interaction, a moment for reflection, not just for you, but for the other person as well. In that silence, the weight of their words hangs in the air, unbuffered by your reaction. They're forced to confront the tone and content of what they've just said. It allows them to hear their own words echoed back in the quiet, perhaps realizing the dismissive or disrespectful nature of their communication. Furthermore, silence allows you to reclaim your dignity. By refusing to engage in a disrespectful exchange, you're protecting your emotional well-being. You're not allowing yourself to be dragged into a cycle of negativity. You're choosing to remain above the fray, maintaining your composure and self-respect. This doesn't mean you condone their behavior. It simply means you refuse to let it diminish you. I knew a gentleman, George, 79, who was constantly being told he was out of touch by his younger relatives. He'd always get flustered and try to explain himself, often becoming entangled in circular arguments that left him feeling depleted and unheard. Then, he decided to try a different approach. The next time someone made a dismissive comment about his views on technology, suggesting he was resistant to progress, George simply smiled, nodded, and changed the subject, asking about their work or their children. The discomfort in the room was palpable. His silence amplified the rudeness of the remark, and the conversation quickly shifted. His relatives, accustomed to his defensive reactions, were taken aback by his quiet composure. They began to reconsider their own approach, recognizing the dismissive nature of their initial comments. This isn't about being passive or avoiding conflict altogether. It's about choosing your battles wisely. It's about recognizing that some arguments simply aren't worth having, especially when they're rooted in disrespect. Silence can be a far more effective tool than words in these situations. It disrupts the dynamic, creates a moment of reflection, and allows you to reclaim your dignity and power. It's a silent statement of self-worth, a quiet assertion of your right to be treated with respect. Number 3. The gentle art of no. One of the most liberating words in any language, especially as we age, is no. Not a harsh, defiant no, but a quiet, steady no that establishes healthy boundaries and reclaims your personal space. It's a word that gently asserts your right to choose, your right to prioritize your own well-being, your right to protect your precious energy. Learning to use this word effectively, without guilt or apology, is a cornerstone of reclaiming your sparkle and commanding respect. Think about all the ways you've silently agreed to things you didn't really want to do, simply out of habit, obligation, or a fear of disappointing others. Perhaps it's agreeing to babysit even when you're exhausted, attending social gatherings that drain your energy, or lending money you can't afford to lose. These seemingly small concessions can accumulate over time, leaving you feeling depleted and resentful. Saying no is not about being selfish. It's about self-preservation. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and resources are finite and precious. It might be saying no to last-minute requests that disrupt your carefully planned schedule. It might be declining invitations to events that don't resonate with you, choosing instead to spend your time in ways that nourish your soul. It might be refusing to engage in conversations that are negative, draining, or disrespectful. It might even mean saying no to well-meaning family members who make demands on your time without considering your own needs. The key is to deliver your no with grace and firmness. You don't need to offer lengthy explanations or elaborate apologies. A simple, "I'm not available," or "that doesn't work for me right now," is often sufficient. Remember, you don't owe anyone a justification for prioritizing your own well-being. I knew a woman, Martha, 75, who was constantly being asked to babysit her grandchildren, often with little notice and no appreciation. She loved her grandchildren dearly, but the constant demands on her time were leaving her exhausted and resentful. She felt trapped in a cycle of obligation, unable to say no for fear of upsetting her family. One day she decided she'd had enough. She started saying, "I'm not available this week," without offering explanations or apologies. At first, there was some pushback, some questioning, some attempts to guilt her into changing her mind. But Martha held firm. She gently but firmly reiterated her boundaries, refusing to be swayed by pressure or manipulation. Eventually, her family began to respect her limits. They realized that her no wasn't a rejection of them, but a necessary act of self-care. They started planning ahead, giving her ample notice when they needed her help, and expressing their appreciation for her time and effort. Martha's newfound ability to say no not only freed up her time and energy, but also transformed her relationships with her family. They began to see her not just as a grandmother, but as a whole person with her own needs and desires. This is the transformative power of no. It allows you to reclaim your time, protect your energy, and establish healthy boundaries that foster respect and appreciation. It's a small word with a big impact, a key to unlocking a more fulfilling and joyful life. Number 4, the magnetism of self-care. When we feel disrespected, it's easy to neglect ourselves, to let our own needs fall by the wayside. We may pour all our energy into others, hoping that our sacrifices will finally be recognized and appreciated. But paradoxically, the most effective way to attract respect is often to shift our focus inward, to prioritize our own well-being. This isn't about vanity or self-absorption. is about reclaiming your sparkle, that inner radiance that comes from nurturing your mind, body, and spirit. It's about remembering that you are worthy of care and attention, simply because you exist. Self-care can take many forms. It might be as simple as taking a daily walk in nature, breathing in the fresh air, and feeling the sun on your skin. It might be listening to uplifting music that fills you with joy and energy. It might be indulging in a quiet cup of tea, savoring the warmth and the moment of stillness. It might be taking a long, luxurious bath, surrounded by candles and soothing scents. It might be reading a book that transports you to another world, or spending time on a hobby that ignites your creativity. It might be pursuing a new interest, learning a new skill, or simply dedicating time each day to quiet reflection and meditation. These small acts of self-care, seemingly insignificant on their own, accumulate over time to create a profound shift in your energy and outlook. They nourish your spirit, replenish your reserves, and remind you of your own inherent worth. They help you reconnect with your inner strength and resilience, fostering a sense of self-love and self-respect that radiates outward. When you prioritize your own well-being, you're not just taking care of yourself, you're also setting an example for others. You're demonstrating that you value yourself, your time, and your energy. This quiet assertion of self-worth can be surprisingly powerful. It can inspire others to treat you with the same respect that you show yourself. I knew a man named Arthur, 80 years young, who felt increasingly ignored by his family. He'd always been the quiet, dependable one, always putting others' needs before his own. He felt like he was fading into the background, his presence barely acknowledged. One day, he decided to make a change. He enrolled in a painting class, something he'd always dreamed of doing but never prioritized. He discovered a hidden talent and a passion for art that he never knew he possessed. His newfound enthusiasm was infectious. His family, accustomed to his quiet demeanor, was surprised and intrigued by his newfound passion. They were drawn to his energy, his excitement, his renewed sense of purpose. They started asking about his paintings, his progress, his experiences in the class. He began sharing his artwork with them, opening up a new avenue of communication and connection. His self-care, his pursuit of his own joy, became a magnet, drawing his family closer and fostering a deeper level of respect and appreciation. This is the magic of self-care. It's not selfish, it's magnetic. It draws people in, not because you're demanding attention, but because you're radiating joy, confidence, and self-respect. When you prioritize your own well-being, you're not just filling your own cup, you're also creating a ripple effect of positivity that touches everyone around you. You're reminding yourself and the world that you matter, that you are worthy, that you are a vibrant, valuable individual deserving of respect and admiration. And that in itself is a powerful act of reclaiming your sparkle. Number 5, the power of purpose. As we age, it's easy to feel like our purpose has diminished, especially if we're no longer working or raising a family. Retirement, while offering freedom from the daily grind, can sometimes leave a void, a sense of wondering, what now? The children we nurtured and guided are grown, pursuing their own lives, and the career that once defined us has become a chapter closed. This transition can be challenging, leaving us feeling adrift, as if our contributions and significance have faded with the passing years. We might find ourselves questioning our value, wondering what we have to offer the world now that the traditional roles we occupied are no longer central to our lives. But what if this stage of life, rather than being a time of decline, is actually an opportunity for rediscovery? What if, instead of viewing retirement as an ending, we see it as a beginning, a chance to explore new passions, cultivate hidden talents, and contribute to the world in ways we never had time for before? What if the key to reclaiming respect, to feeling valued and seen, lies not in clinging to the past, but in embracing the potential of the present and the future? The truth is, purpose isn't tied to a specific role or occupation. It's not about what you do, but about who you are and how you choose to engage with the world. It's about finding something that ignites your passion, that brings you joy and fulfillment, and sharing that light with others. This could take countless forms. Perhaps you've always dreamt of writing a novel, learning a new language, or mastering a musical instrument. Maybe you have a wealth of knowledge and experience in a particular field that you could share through mentoring or teaching. Perhaps you have a deep connection to nature and find purpose in volunteering for environmental conservation efforts. Or maybe your purpose lies in simply offering kindness and support to those in need, whether it's through volunteering at a local charity, visiting seniors in a nursing home, or simply lending a listening ear to a friend. I knew a woman, Beatrice, 78, who felt like she'd lost her sense of purpose after retirement. She dedicated her life to her career as a teacher, shaping young minds and making a difference in the lives of her students. Retirement, while welcome, left her feeling a profound sense of emptiness. She missed the daily interaction, the intellectual stimulation, the feeling of making a contribution. She tried various hobbies, but nothing seemed to fill the void. One day, while browsing the local library, she stumbled upon a volunteer opportunity: reading to children. It seemed simple, almost insignificant, but something about it resonated with her. She decided to give it a try, and the experience was transformative. She rediscovered her love of storytelling, the joy of connecting with children, and the satisfaction of sharing her knowledge and passion. She found a new community that valued her experience, her warmth, and her kindness. The children were captivated by her animated readings, and their parents expressed gratitude for the positive influence she had on their lives. Beatrice, in turn, felt a renewed sense of purpose, a feeling of being valued and appreciated. She wasn't just a retired teacher. She was a storyteller, a mentor, a source of joy and inspiration for a new generation. This seemingly small act of volunteering became a powerful source of meaning and fulfillment, reminding her that her purpose wasn't tied to her former career, but to her inherent ability to connect with others and make a positive impact on the world. Purpose, she discovered, wasn't something she had lost. It was something she had rediscovered in a new and unexpected form. It's not about achievement, it's about connection. It's about finding something that lights you up and sharing that light with the world. Number 6, the strength of wider circles. When family relationships become strained, it's easy to feel isolated, as if your world has shrunk to the confines of your home and the limited interactions within it. You might find yourself withdrawing, interacting less and less with the outside world, inadvertently reinforcing the feeling of being unseen and unheard. But what if the key to reclaiming your sense of belonging, to reigniting your spark, lies not within the familiar, sometimes challenging dynamics of family, but in the vast, unexplored landscape of wider social circles? What if the antidote to feeling overlooked within your family is to expand your horizons and cultivate connections beyond the familiar? This isn't about replacing your family or diminishing the importance of those relationships. It's about supplementing them, about enriching your life with a diverse tapestry of connections that nourish your spirit and remind you of your inherent worth. It's about recognizing that your identity, your value, isn't solely defined by your role within your family. You are a multifaceted individual with a unique blend of talents, interests, and experiences, and the world beyond your family offers a fertile ground for these aspects of yourself to flourish. Expanding your social circles can take many forms. It might mean joining a book club, where you can share your love of literature and engage in stimulating discussions with like-minded individuals. Imagine the joy of discovering new authors, exploring different genres, and sharing your insights and perspectives in a supportive and engaging environment. It might mean taking a class, whether it's learning a new language, exploring a creative pursuit like painting or pottery, or delving into a subject that has always intrigued you. The act of learning, of expanding your knowledge and skills, not only keeps your mind sharp, but also connects you with others who share your curiosity and thirst for knowledge. It might mean volunteering your time and talents at a local charity, a hospital, or a community center. Giving back to your community not only provides a sense of purpose and fulfillment, but also connects you with people who are passionate about making a difference. Even something as simple as striking up conversations with new people can expand your social horizons. The friendly barista at your local coffee shop, the fellow gardener tending their plot at the community garden, the person sitting next to you on the park bench, these seemingly small interactions can blossom into meaningful connections. A shared smile, a brief exchange about the weather, a casual conversation about a shared interest. These moments of connection, however fleeting, can brighten your day and remind you that you are part of a larger community. I knew a man named Charles, 82, who felt increasingly isolated after his wife passed away. His world had revolved around his wife for over 50 years, and her absence left a gaping hole in his life. He'd always been a quiet, reserved man, and his grief further compounded his tendency to withdraw. His family, while loving and supportive, lived in different states and could only visit occasionally. He felt adrift, disconnected, and increasingly invisible. One day, his daughter suggested he try attending a weekly coffee group at his local senior center. He was hesitant at first, reluctant to step outside his comfort zone and interact with strangers. But loneliness gnawed at him, and he finally decided to give it a try. The experience was transformative. He found himself surrounded by people his own age, many of whom had experienced similar losses and challenges. He formed new friendships, shared stories, laughed, and discovered that he wasn't alone in his grief. He found solace in the shared experiences, the camaraderie, and the simple act of connecting with others. The coffee group became a lifeline, a place where he felt seen, heard, and valued. Wider circles provide a sense of perspective, a reminder that your worth isn't defined by your family's perception. They offer a fresh lens through which to view yourself and your experiences, a chance to explore different facets of your personality, and an opportunity to connect with people who appreciate you for who you are, regardless of your family role. They remind you that you are not just a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, or a spouse. You are an individual with a unique story to tell, a wealth of wisdom to share, and a vibrant spirit that deserves to be celebrated. Expanding your social circles is not just about making new friends. It's about rediscovering yourself, reclaiming your sense of belonging, and reigniting your spark. Number 7, the wisdom of reframing. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to internalize the negativity, to let their words chip away at your sense of self-worth. You might replay the interaction in your mind, dissecting every word, every nuance, searching for what you did wrong, how you could have prevented the slight. You might find yourself feeling hurt, angry, and resentful, emotions that can linger long after the interaction has ended, casting a shadow over your day and eroding your confidence. It's a natural human response to feel wounded by disrespect, especially when it comes from someone we care about, someone whose opinion we value. But what if, instead of absorbing the negativity, you could find a way to deflect it. What if, instead of taking the disrespect personally, you could reframe the situation, viewing it through a different lens, one that empowers you rather than diminishes you? This isn't about condoning disrespectful behavior. It's about protecting your own emotional well-being by choosing how you respond to it. It's about recognizing that other people's actions are often a reflection of their own internal struggles, their own insecurities, their own unresolved issues, and not necessarily a judgment of your worth. Reframing involves shifting your perspective, looking beyond the immediate sting of the disrespect, and considering the broader context of the situation. Perhaps the person who disrespected you is dealing with stress, anxiety, or grief. Perhaps they're struggling with their own feelings of inadequacy or insecurity, and their disrespectful behavior is a misguided attempt to assert control or gain a sense of power. Perhaps they've simply had a bad day, and their negativity spilled over onto you, an unintended target of their frustration. Or perhaps they've learned patterns of disrespectful communication from their own upbringing, and they're simply repeating those patterns unconsciously. Understanding the potential underlying causes of disrespectful behavior doesn't excuse it, but it can help you detach from the negativity and avoid internalizing it. It allows you to see the situation with greater compassion and empathy, recognizing that the person's behavior is often more about them than it is about you. I knew a woman, Dorothy, 79, whose daughter was constantly criticizing her choices, from her clothing to her cooking to her social activities. Dorothy initially took these criticisms to heart, feeling hurt and bewildered by her daughter's seemingly constant disapproval. She'd spent hours agonizing over her daughter's words, questioning her own judgment and feeling increasingly insecure. Then, one day, during a conversation with a close friend, Dorothy had a realization. Her friend pointed out that Dorothy's daughter was approaching her own 50th birthday and seemed increasingly anxious about aging. She was grappling with her own changing appearance, her own shifting priorities, and her own fears about the future. This realization was a turning point for Dorothy. It didn't erase the sting of her daughter's criticisms, but it did lessen the blow. It allowed Dorothy to see her daughter's behavior through a different lens, one of understanding and compassion. She realized that her daughter's negativity wasn't a reflection of Dorothy's worth, but rather a projection of her daughter's own anxieties about aging and change. This understanding didn't make the criticisms easier to hear, but it did empower Dorothy to respond differently. Instead of becoming defensive or withdrawing, she started engaging with her daughter with greater empathy, acknowledging her daughter's fears and offering support and understanding. Reframing allows you to reclaim your power. Instead of being a passive recipient of negativity, you become an active participant in shaping your own emotional experience. You choose how you interpret the situation, and you choose how you respond. You refuse to let other people's negativity define you or diminish your sense of self-worth. You recognize that their behavior is often a reflection of their own internal struggles, and you choose to respond with compassion, understanding, and a firm commitment to your own emotional well-being. This doesn't mean you have to tolerate disrespectful behavior. It simply means you choose not to let it control your emotions or define your sense of self. You reclaim your power by choosing how you respond, by choosing to focus on your own well-being, and by choosing to see the situation through a lens of compassion and understanding. If you've ever felt diminished, overlooked, or unseen, remember this. Your worth is inherent. It's not determined by anyone else's opinion. Every small act of self-care, every boundary you set, every connection you forge, is a step toward reclaiming your sparkle, that inner radiance that commands respect, not through demands, but through quiet strength and unwavering self-love. You are not invisible. You are valuable. And your story, your wisdom, your presence matters. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our latest tips for thriving in life after 60 all for free. Hit that notification bell to be alerted when we upload a new video. Your support helps us continue to create valuable content for this community. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.